been about 15.
Now what about Breezy? What happened to Breezy?
My first kiss in grade school.
She's been a little outgoing her whole life. Now the sisters are going to get out of here. She wants to know who the hell it was.
Well, I think it was my favorite boyfriend that I walked to school with, which was one of the Lease boys, Richard Lease.
Apparently Caroline was walking to school with her and Dolores was throwing the temper, huh?
I said that we were walking home from school and it got kind of quick. I hit him with a dinner bucket.
The Lease boys.
Yeah, they gave me scarlet fever after that.
We used to call it a hangover, but they call it scarlet fever. That's kind of scarlet, that's red wine that does that, right?
Carol and I used to go like a free show, and I wasn't of age, but I had some wine. I got sick when I got home, and my Caroline said, "Ma, she must have ate too many peaches or something."
Had to lie for her.
Nothing, these things don't change. These things don't change, it's the same all the time. She said you used to walk in your sleep.
Oh yeah, I did. Almost knocked over a Aladdin lamp. And my dad grabbed it before I tipped it over.
She was on Facebook.
She would do to me, being 4 years older. She'd say, you scratch my back, okay? And then I'll scratch yours. When I got through scratching her back, she made believe she was sleeping. So I never got my turn.
Would you like to say? So I was thinking about this for some of the younger kids in the family here. I did a little bit of research actually, and 1941, December 7th, as most of you know, Pearl Harbor was hit. And these two were around to witness that in some form, I guess. So I got a question. Where were you when Pearl Harbor was attacked?
What year was that?
1941, December 7th.
I was home yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the farm in Cuba. Then what?
So that leads me to another question. I thought you guys were all born on the farm, but is that true?
Yes, I was born on the farm. Yes.
I looked at the book and it was Angelica, and I didn't realize that was an Angelica address, the town of Angelica. Okay. Well, then in 1945, when Hiroshima was bombed, you would have been 19 actually, and you were 15. So I'm curious where you were then.
I was working in Pulaski at the garbage truck at the time.
Yeah. How did you find out?
How did I find out? I don't know, just talk, I guess.
There was no TV.
Well, radio.
Yeah. There was no TV, no Facebook, no Twitter.
I was at Washington Junior High, a ninth grader at Washington Junior High School in Green Bay, because we moved to Green Bay in November of 1943.
know, again, for those of you that were born like I was 59, you know, this all happened, a lot of things going on way back when, and it's really interesting to talk to them about that, so.
I want you to know that your mother came and lived with us in Green Bay when your father was in the service. And Margie lived with us.
I've been told you guys.
Can I just interrupt you just for a few minutes? If anybody has a pie.
Got a question?
When they used to hold hands by the fence, and then also, if they want to admit to it, and then also, I think they should share. Okay, there are two stories that I know about my aunt and my mom, and one of them is, I think very touching, and it was about when they were young, about scarlet fever. And I think they should share that because it really shows the love they had for one another. And also more on the humorous side, at least for some of them that were there, is a story about our cousin Marlene. And if you remember, if you're little and you have little sisters or brothers, and sometimes you weren't always the sweetest to them, if they want to openly admit that story, that would be kind of fun. So they can start, I think, with maybe the Marlene story. Or whatever one you want. Caroline's laughing already, so.
Gotta hear about your grandma.
I'll tell you, Arlene was a city girl.
City girl, what city?
Bonnewell. Evelyn used to bring her out to the farm. And Marlene was kind of a scaredy cat. But we tried to toughen her up. And see, my dad had an electric fence. So Dolores says, you have to put Marlene at the end because the one at the end will get the shot.
Oh my goodness!
So then Dolores grabbed the fence, and then I'm hanging on to Dolores. And then we had poor little Marlene screaming at the other end. And then we would catch hell from Evelyn. Every time she drove in, we had to think of something how we could either improve or do something bad.
And then the scarlet fever.
Oh yeah, Caroline. Oh yeah.
Yes, that was true.
What's your idea? No, speaking to the microphone with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and when we were little, Evelyn was a lot older than us. She would make us coats out of old coats because we didn't have much money to have clothes. So Evelyn sold a lot for us, which was very nice.
Evelyn would always bring a scissors, so we kind of ran for the barn and hid for a while. Because she always wanted to cut her hair. And we didn't want her hair cut. But that was her idea with my mother. I think they should have their hair cut. So she'd bring the scissors. But we would run like heck for the barn.
And the scarlet fever.
Scarlet fever.
The scarlet fever. Caroline, remember how you were separated? I think you should. Remember?
I don't know about the scarlet fever.
Oh, well, I had scarlet fever. And we were quarantined for 1 month.
How old were you?
I was 7. And Dolores would have been 10 or 11. And Butch would have been about 15. So they had to move over to my aunt and uncle Bill and Ella Hanstead's house because they couldn't live at home because our door was sealed on our house. My dad and Fred, your dad, had to live in the garage with my dad with a cook stove and a fur cap in the winter because this was right in the middle of the really cold winter.
Way to go.
So in order for us to survive, my dad would buy the food, my mother would open the window and my dad would put the food on the windowsill. So my mother would have to walk away so he couldn't make any contact at all. And it was very, very cold winter.
What year was that?
That would have been 37,
Wow.
1937.
Wow.
But we all survived, but Dolores and Butch would come and stand by the window outside and cry because they couldn't come in and see me or Mom. But they could see their dad and they could see Fritz, but, you know, but that was really hard. Thank goodness for Uncle Bill and Aunt Ella because they had to bring them to school every day for 1 month. And when the door was unsealed, everything that was washable had to be washed with a disinfectant, and everything that you could burn that wasn't of any value had to be burned. And that's the way it was in 1937.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions you'd like to ask? Got engaged. Who wants to go first? No, you know, how did it happen? With one knee, with the flowers, with...
I was going with Posey. He was in the service, and he was going to go overseas. So he sent me a ring in the mail, and I stayed with Arda Lutzi and Plasky, and she put the ring on my finger. So then Breezy came home, and he had to go back to Texas then, and we were in love. So I went down to Texas and got married. 7 days after we got married, we found out that he was getting discharged. So then we came back home. That's why I didn't have a big wedding, because we got married in Temple, Texas in a chapel. He was at McCloskey General Hospital, and that's where we got married. And we had a reception across from the hospital and I had big bologna sandwiches for my dinner, and we baked a little cake. And that was my meal. And after that, we went to a show. That was my wedding. So then when we came back to Plasky, they had a wedding show for me at Zelinsky's ballroom. I can remember John Wood gave us pickles. He brought us a whole jug of pickles from the pickle factory. So that's the way I got married. I got married in a black suit. And I'm here today. I thank the Lord.
I worked on a Friday night at Cohen's department store till 9 o'clock, and it was in November. And we always went to Aggie Otis's bar in De Pere, and we would dance and have drinks and play cards and stuff. So when we parked in front of Aggie Otis's bar in West De Pere, Harold said, "I have something for you," and he gave me my engagement ring. And we went into the bar and celebrated, and he played cards with Aggie Otis, and I tended bar.
I said Breezy wasn't there, that's why I played a card with somebody else.
I guess the pie contest is quite challenging at the moment, so they're testing them. I hope there's some left. Who has the Father's Day next year? That was one question. I was born in 1959, so I've been here every year since I was big as Max, that's sitting over there. So it's quite a tradition, and although I'm not married, don't have my own family, I got all you guys.
I'm as short as you guys. Okay, I have a question now.
rented it in 1943
From who?
from,
Ed Melchner?
Melchner from O'Connell, or O'Connell Falls.
I knew that.
From Fred Melchner.
Fred Melch, and then who purchased it?
Dad.
Your dad purchased it.
Dad bought it.
He wouldn't sell it to my dad until after my mom died, and then my dad didn't want it.
No.
Yeah, that's the first time he was ever told me that I bought it.
Well, I don't know if any of you ever go by Irwin Avenue, 731 South Irwin. We have two really good renters in there that really love the place, and they've really put some time and effort into it themselves. They redid the hardwood floors, they kind of landscaped it, and it really, really looks nice, so. I don't know if any of you guys even know that's in there, but, that's where a lot of family Christmases were held. Christmas trees with the, silver tinsel on, with the cherries on the wire on the Christmas tree, and
Popcorn balls, cherries in the dish on the table we ate.
cherry bones. Grandpa used to always give us dollar bills or silver dollars when we would go there, and $2 bills. Yeah. So I don't know how many of you remember that, but I vaguely remember it. But I just want you to know the house is still in the family and it's well taken care of.
Thank you. It's beautiful. We drove past it last week.
So, do we have a winner in the pie